Welcome to Inspired Edinburgh, the home of powerful conversations. I'm Elliot Reeves, and my guest today is Daniel EUAN Henderson. Daniel is one of Scotland's leading content creators and social media influencers with a pan-platform audience of more than 2 million followers. Your speciality is positive, amusing and inspiring short-form, female-friendly viral video content covering everything from depression and anxiety to female periods, with the goal of empowering people to love themselves more. You're an entertainer, a world traveller, having travelled to over 20 countries in the past 2 years, and you recently became an uncle. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Daniel,
good to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how have you been?
Yeah, good. I've really been looking forward to having you here, I have to be honest.
Yeah, it's been good.
We met each other not that long ago, actually.
Yeah, we were at a networking event where we, it was awesome because I was actually thinking about doing podcasts and stuff like that and getting involved, like not actually doing them myself, but just being on them. And I didn't know any Scottish. I was like, where are all these Scottish ones that are doing it? And then you came up to me and I was like, this is crazy how the universe works.
Yeah, it really is.
There we go. So here we are.
It's great. Actually that meetup that we were at for Scottish creators, I was quite shocked at how many people there were.
Yeah.
Because we tend to sort of mix in these own little cliques and circles, and not realise that there's more people out there. So that was great.
Yeah, it was good. It's I felt like alone a lot of the times when I've been creating, and then I got to that event and I was like, wow, there's so many good people with such skills, resources, and I'm just like, okay, this is cool. I like this, you know. So we should do it again sometime.
Definitely.
Try and get more Scottish creators if anybody's watching this.
For sure.
Get in there.
Nice plug. I like it. So, if we can start by going back to the very beginning, if you can kind of set the scene, telling us what your early life was like and that sort of stuff, that'd be great.
So I was brought up with my mum and dad, the family stayed together, and I have an older brother called Lee, who's just had the baby. Mm-hmm. And we actually went to a church in Glasgow. So I was from a young age, I was always in an environment of good teachings, and the ministers were really good. I'm not a Christian at the moment. I kind of fell away from that.
Okay.
But the school I went to was a private Christian school. And I learned a lot, a really, really good it was a good base to start for like inspiring things. The people that were around about that environment were all creative people with great insight, knowledge, and I took whatever I could from them. I was a bit rebellious though when I was younger.
Okay.
But I still did take a lot from it, you know. So it's been a great childhood. Mother, dad, thank you for raising me as best as you could, and I'm sorry if I'm a failure.
No, at all. I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
So, going through school, what were your aspirations, as you were growing up? What did you kind of hope to see yourself doing?
So I was kind of very athletic. I've always been athletic, and I wanted to be a footballer. Okay. I know that's not abnormal being from Scotland and being a guy, but I was always, I wanted to be a footballer. And that's where a lot of my rebellion came from, because everything I did, I used to say, I don't need that anyway because I'm going to be a footballer. Obviously that didn't work out, and I actually fell out of love with the sport as I turned 15, 16, and that's when it's a pivotal point for where you end up, a footballer or not. It's that kind of age is where people fall away. Or there was friends of mine that were playing with Rangers. I was playing with Livingston at the time. And I thought, you know what, I could play with Livingston one day, and ended up falling away from that. And then as the years went down, I've always studied acting as well. So I thought, I'd like to be an actor. So I went to study acting after school.
Okay.
I went for it. I was like, this could be fun. Loved it, but I was really young. I was only 17 when I started studying it. And education wasn't for me. The whole going in and being a part of the kind of, I like working as a team, but I just found that I was the young one and I wanted to go out and be this part or what, and it just kind of, I quit. I was a quitter. That's basically my childhood and going up into adolescence, I was very much a quitter. When times got tough, I just quit. If the people in my class didn't like me, I quit. And so that's something that I've gradually learned to, to stop doing is quitting things, good things, quitting things that are actually beneficial for me, and learning to quit things that are bad for me. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's quite refreshing to hear someone be that honest and introspective, that you were able to identify that that's what you were like.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that if you're honest completely with yourself and everything that you stand for, then no one else can point it out for you. Obviously people can give you constructive criticism. I love that. But when you say to yourself, yeah, I'm not perfect, then you don't need to kind of try and shoot for the stars and try and pretend that you're perfect all the time, because that is one thing that I probably have tried that in the past. I've tried to seem perfect and then you just crash eventually. So yeah, be honest with everything you do is a great tool to have, I would say. Yeah.
So tell me about your sort of early career path.
Career.
What sort of jobs did you do?
So the career involved me pouring vodkas and cokes,
right.
gin and cokes, and then gin and tonics for people, getting called all sorts of names behind the bar, and then actually, because that was what I was doing, I was like, you know what, I'm going to become a mixologist. So I made sure that if I was a bartender, I was a mixologist. I was going to learn every cocktail in the book. And then I was 19 or 20, and I wanted to start my own little cocktail masterclass business. And that was the start of the kind of entrepreneurial side of me that wanted to do something more than what I was doing. So that was one of my first business kind of ventures that never went anywhere.
Okay.
But yeah, bartender was basically my job. Other than that, I worked in a museum one time, and the Burrow collection. In Glasgow with the Egyptian. I was a cleaner in there.
Really?
So yeah, as far as being employed is concerned, bars, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was pretty much
it.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
I didn't really work for corporate or anything like that. Just bars. Yep.
Cool. At what point then did kind of content creation, social media come onto your radar?
I think it came onto my radar because of the acting career. I wanted to do something. I've always wanted to. I love people, and I love the reactions that I get from people. So if I can make someone smile or have a wee laugh or whatever, that makes me happy. Obviously, there's a conflict in I used to care a lot what people thought of me. So I would worry what people said to me as well. But I liked freeing people from concern, especially my mum when she was ill, because she had ME. And I used to, as a kid, put on little plays for her and stuff like that just to make her feel happy. And from that, my mum I think my mum must have mentioned it to one of my teachers in school. And they always, in school, I was always the lead role. I think I've been Macbeth 5 times. I've been Macbeth in 5 different varieties of Macbeth as well. It's just, So I thought, I have got a voice. I like entertaining people, so I'm going to get myself out there. And it's debatable if it was very entertaining at the start. It was just me dancing on my bed with my shirt off.
So what platform did you start off on?
Facebook. It was Facebook, because I seen a window of opportunity, because I never thought that I could be a YouTuber, because I thought that was for the YouTuber game. I thought at that point, that was 5 or 6 years ago, I thought, that's not my world. I'm just going to go on Facebook, where it's a different kind of thing. And there was this guy called Ben Buckwalter who did similar videos, and he said to me, Daniel, you should, do more positive stuff, because I did a video about your imperfections are your perfections, and I think that's how he found who I was. And he said, you should do this more, you should go out there and put out a little positive message rather than dancing on your bed. I was like, yeah, I prefer the comments that people were saying, I've helped them out. It was a very simple, basic phrase, your imperfections are your perfections, but that little phrase went a long way. And so I thought, I'm gonna do more of that. And that was just the start of it all. Ben, he was kind of like a mentor for me.
Mm-hmm.
He was a year older than me. He was a mentor. He was a great friend. He was someone that, thank you, Ben, for helping me with that. So yeah,
that's really fascinating.
He was probably the person that, because he said to me, no, you're not posting enough. And I would say, oh, okay. I was posting maybe once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He'd say, you're not posting enough. And I was watching him, and he was posting once every 4 days, 3 days. And then I was like, you know what? And as soon as I took his advice, it skyrocketed.
Seriously?
Yeah.
When did things really start picking up?
So 2014, going into 2015, it started picking up, and I had a profile. So I started on a Facebook profile, not a page.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So just like an ordinary...
Just an ordinary profile, okay. And at that point, it had high engagement for creators. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of lucky. I got in there quick with the engagement, and you would be able to reach, if you had like 500 followers, you would be able to reach those 500 at that point. And if you had, so I had gained maybe 40,000.
Whoa.
And then it went from 40,000 to 200,000 within a week or 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then in the next few months leading up into 2015, going into 2016, I managed to get like nearly 800,000 followers. But then I got hacked. And it was one of the worst days of my life, but one of the best days of my life, because I thought I'd lost everything. I got it back, but all my videos were deleted. Some of the videos had like 15 million views.
Oh my God.
I got it back, and it forced me into converting to a page, because I'd been told that the engagement was better on pages. So then I started a page, and that went to nearly 2 million within a couple of years. So it was crazy how that happened. It was just all from positive affirmations for others. And there was a lot of girls that liked it, from America, specifically Canada, Australia.
Right, okay.
And it just took off. It was pretty overwhelming, and just crazy.
How did your sort of style become your style? With the sassy snaps, as you call it.
The sassy snaps, oh man.
all that good stuff.
So I would say repetition. When you do something more than once every 2 weeks, you start finding a momentum. You start finding what works, what doesn't work, and the things like sassy snaps. It's like rituals. It's like when you do things repeatedly, it becomes second nature to you. Mm-hmm. And so the little sassy snap wasn't actually a thing at the start, but it was always something I did. Like whenever I had a point, I would always do that to people in my school or whatever. As stupid as it was, it worked and people liked it. And yeah, I just kind of adopted little phrases like shoving it up your and all these other things. But people liked it, and so I repeated it, and it became my style.
And so what was the original intention? What was the sort of drive behind?
The drive behind it was just to make people laugh. That was it. It was just to make people laugh, see people. And I was always very analytic, and I liked seeing the numbers, and I loved seeing where people were finding, like what video worked in America but didn't work in UK. I loved all that stuff. So really? I've always been very analytic. So that always helps. If you're not really analytic and you're just doing something for the sake of it, then you're not, I would say you're not going to get success from it. Mm-hmm. I would feel like you have to enjoy what you're doing, and helping people, and with the wee analytic part of it as well. It's like it's a dream job for me.
Yeah,
I love
for
it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've watched a number of your videos. I quite enjoyed them. They're not targeted at somebody like myself, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, but do you know what?
They're entertaining. I can imagine that there's a lot of people that are sort of detractors or trolls or haters because of the nature of the videos that you're doing.
Yep. And you know what? It's actually diluted in the past few years. I feel like I was like a martyr or something, because there wasn't many Glaswegian people creating when I started, so it was quite hard for me at the start, because my friends would say, "What are you doing with your life? What is this? You're an embarrassment." My family even thought, "What are you doing, Daniel?" And And as the years go on, you continue doing something, you repeat it, you don't, I say you don't care what people think of it. You do care, you do. But then things dilute, and now there's so many people creating that it's almost like, it's normal now, and nobody thinks it's weird. They're like, wow, nice. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's impressive. Clearly people like it, given the sheer level of engagement that you have.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's been so popular?
I think the Scottish, we have an amazing accent. You have a great accent. We all have an amazing accent, but because of the, I don't know if it's a lack of resources or a lack of networking or whatever within, we all think, that's a thing for Americans to do, or that's a thing for people in LA or London or New York.
Mm-hmm.
But who's to say that I can sit and make videos in my house in Glasgow, you couldn't make it in your house in Edinburgh and make the exact same impact that someone in America is doing in LA. It's just it's all in our heads, that that belief system that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm glad that I did have a belief system, because it's taken me on adventures like traveling and stuff. It's been incredible. Like, with all the bad aside, it's been a great journey,
So what then have been some of the sort of highs and lows with it?
So the highs would definitely be the places I've been invited to and the friends I've met. So I got a message from a family in Canada last April. They said to me, hey, we want to book a flight for you out to come see us for 3 days. And I'd FaceTimed them before, I'd talked to them and things. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I went out to Vancouver for 3 or 4 days. They looked after me, and now we're best friends. I went out there again in August and stayed with them for a month. So things like that happen. Then there's also the kind of seeing people's reactions. I get sent videos from people who are wanting to kill themselves and people who've been through self-harming. Mm-hmm. And as I'm not like a therapist, so I do point a lot of people in the direction of help rather mm-hmm. than trying to give them help myself.
Yeah,
I wish I could help them, but I don't have the expert knowledge. Sure. Maybe that's something I would actually like to learn in the future. Mm-hmm. But for now, I help people by entertaining as much as I can. So the videos, when I get sent those videos, there was a boy called Darren from Galashiels.
Okay.
He's been all over the news. I think he said something in an interview for the Daily Record or something like that. And he basically was, I think he was basically had Noonan syndrome. Noonan syndrome is a genetic syndrome. I'm not going to go in. I don't really know the ins and outs of it. Mm-hmm. But he ended up having a stroke, and he's disabled now. He couldn't. He's in a wheelchair and things. He's been in a coma for 2 months. Had a stroke, and he reached out to me and said, "Daniel, would you come and see me?" And this was after I got back from Canada, and I went, "Yeah, you know what? He's in Galashiels. Let's go to Galashiels." And I'm so glad I did. That boy is amazing to know. And you would think that my following was all female, but it's not. There was a young guy from Galashiels. I met him. Now he messaged me saying that he had feeling in one of his legs. Wow. And so we're hoping, one of his dreams is to walk again. So, like, I get updates all the time. He's saying that he's actually felt in his legs. He's an exceptional person. He's really an overcomer, and I'm glad that I've met these amazing, awesome people from what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. And some of the sort of lower points then?
Lower points are the abuse that you got early on, because let's just put it this way. So you get 100,000 views on a video. Mm-hmm. You think, wow, you're going into your family, you're like, wow, I got 100,000 views on that video. That is amazing. My mum, they're like, wow, look at that, you're getting famous. And I'm like, whoa, and you feel amazing, you're all puffed up, you're like, wow. And then you go on a walk in your hometown, and this guy will be like, "Hey, you did that video with your top off," and then you'll be like, "Here, Jamie, and then he'll be like, oh, not that wee guy, and then that was the start. And then as you get more videos that go viral, you get more little people that'll come up to you and say, you know, you're this, you're that.
It's kind of bullying, I guess.
Trolling, but it's easy to handle it when it's in the comments.
Yeah.
It's not easy to handle it when you get viral posts about you.
Yeah.
That was hard. And there was a couple of days I had agoraphobia. I didn't want to leave the house because you feel like all eyes are on you. You feel like, you know, you've went viral on a tweet or something, or you've went viral on a video of me getting slide tackled in a nightclub or something like that. And people were like, oh, but that's people just, and the people's advice is to me, oh, but that's, you just have to, it's part of the territory, it's part of the parcel of what you're doing. Yeah, but it's still not nice, and it's still hard, and you have to be a tough character to put up with that.
Mm-hmm.
And my best friend at the time was the person who actually, he actually passed away from suicide. I've talked about this before, but he was always my friend whenever I was going through these times.
Okay.
So 2015 was one of the worst years, but the best years as well. I had a lot of crazy thoughts go through my head as well, and from there I just thought that what I'm doing is giving people worth. I'm not going to listen to any negativity. The percentage of people that dislike are very few, and the impact that I could eventually bring to a large audience is far greater. So I thought, you know, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I suppose, you know, I'm just thinking in my head, saving one person's life is worth more than virtually any of the negative stuff that you could get, right?
Yep.
But it's just a shame that the negative people can't see the potential value in the content that you're creating.
You can't change people's opinions. Some people's opinions are deeply rooted. So sometimes there were nights where I would be out in the town, and there would be a guy that would come up to me and he'd be like, oh, you're the wee poof that does the videos. And I know that I'm a straight guy, and so I would have maybe reacted to that, and I would have tried to show, I would have mirrored his kind of like, and then I would have risen to him, and I would have been like, no. In my head at that point, I thought, oh, if I show him that I'm tough here, then that'll show him. It doesn't show him anything. It just shows that you're on his level. And so from now on, you know, it's good to, it actually is a really good thing to just walk away from a situation. Yeah. In my case, is run away from some situations. But yeah, just walk away is the best thing. And it's hard to do especially when you're drunk. But make sure you've also got good friends. You need good friends when you're going through hard times. The people that are not just, you know, there are friends that are there for you only through the bad times, and they're never there for you during the good times when you're winning. They're never there to congratulate you. They're always there for the bad gossip, and I also don't like that. But those friends that are there for you through the good and the bad, I thank them so much for being in my life, you know. I'm really grateful that way. Yeah.
So when you get like a negative comment on a video now, do you delete it? Do you just leave it there?
No.
Or do you?
They have everybody. This is how I feel, and as much as it kills me to say it, everybody has freedom of speech, unless it is malicious in a way that is inciting me to get harmed. Yeah. So if someone says, "Oh, if I see you in town, I'm going to set about you and hit you, rip your head off," or something like that, then I still probably wouldn't delete it. I wouldn't comment back. I wouldn't comment back because it draws attention to it. I would say to people, you are going to get negative people, and they're sitting in their little comfort of their little, you know. Yeah. And, you know, they could be hurting. So I don't want to hurt someone who's already hurting, because they must be hurting if they have to go out and say that to you. Or
I sometimes wonder this myself, you know, what is the archetype of a troll? It must be someone that's like pretty in a bad place in their life if that's all they've got.
At least they're bored. At least. So, you know, you don't know what that person's going through. They don't know what I'm going through, but I've got a tough mental aspect of I can ignore it.
Yeah.
Whereas they're not used to it. So if I give them a comment back that says, oh, look at your profile, it's just a car, you know, it's just a car because you're too whatever to, you know, people do that as to trolls. They're like, oh, you're too scared to show your face. But what if he is too scared to show his face? Because he actually doesn't like himself.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't ever feed the troll, because they could be absolutely going through torture. They could have had the worst upbringing ever. So, and I'm not saying I haven't ever done that before, but that's how I deal with trolls.
Yeah.
Just ignore it, push it to the side as best you can. As best you can. It's hard. It is hard, but you'll overcome it, and the rewards that you will when you, it's just like if you abstain from anything like drinking too much alcohol, the reward is far greater if you abstain from the negativity as much as possible.
I like it. I'm going to ask you a little bit about your content creation process. Because I was quite surprised to hear that you said in one of your videos that you do a lot of your stuff on your phone, like your editing included. So what does the whole process look like?
So it doesn't look like what I'm currently in with all the cameras and all
Equipment
that.
galore.
Equipment galore.
Yeah.
So I'm quite shocked by that. For me, it literally started with a phone.
Okay.
I've threw in the GoPro there for the YouTube vlogs, and I had the drone which broke, and because I'm skint, I couldn't really update it. Well, I'm not actually skint, but I just thought, you know, sometimes when you travel around with the drone, it's hard to package it and stuff. Because I'm skint and I don't want to pay extra. But I do like that creative side. It's something that I'd like to work more on. But as far as like editing on my phone is, for the wee quick videos that I make, it does the job. So
that's impressive.
Yeah.
I would have thought that you would at least have done it on, like, you know, a MacBook and Final Cut Pro or something.
Yep. No, I've done it on just a couple of little apps and figured it out. It isn't a case of I've just picked up one app and done this. Like I've went through a whole selection process of what the best apps for one aspect are. So it is more detailed than it looks.
Okay.
So if anybody they would find it weird how I do it.
Okay.
I've never done anything normal in my life, right? I've always taken the harder option. So like, you know, just get a point and shoot camera, set it down, and then edit it on Final Cut Pro. No, I don't do that. I don't know why.
So how do you decide what the content is that you're going to create? Are you quite strategic, or is it more just on a whim?
I think that it's been a collaboration with the people that watch me. So it started off with finding little ideas, testing the water with some ideas, and then always look at your comment section. I don't like these people that they just ignore comments. They're like, oh, okay, I got 10,000 views on that video and like 1,000 comments, and they don't go down. I like to read every single comment, good or bad. And if you see like a good, if it's a viral video, then I've got a life, right? I've got a life. So, but I'll see the comments, and if I did a video which went viral about short girls, then obviously you'll see the comments there, and it'll be like, but what about us tall girls? We need love too. And I'm like, okay, let's do one for tall girls. Did a tall girls video. And then there was one that said, what about us average height girls? And I was just like, right, come on guys. What is average, like, you know? But no, it's been a collaboration. Like if someone will say, I've got scars that I'm scared to show, then that's been in the comments, and I'll be like, yeah, there's a lot of people that have got scars that are hidden, and that would help a lot of people. So it's never about what I think, it's usually what others they give me the inspiration to then help back. So that's where it's all came from. It is quite enjoyable when you get the message back saying, the person that commented saying, do one for redheads, or do one for girls with curly hair. My curly hair is whatever. And then I'll remember that name of the person. And then when I've done the curly hair video, they'll message directly and they'll be like, oh my God, you've done it, and you just like, it's good, it's nice, nice feeling.
Yeah, I mean, how much time is spent looking at comments and replying to people and stuff? Like, how many notifications do you get in an average day, Daniel?
Well, I turn off all the notifications because my phone just dies. It just dies.
Seriously?
Like it's crazy, yeah. So when I have a video on Instagram that uploads and it's gone like pretty viral, then it's just like every time you refresh, it just goes. Facebook, it used to just be that little red. It used to be a constant little thing that would say plus 500, plus 10, plus 1,000, and it's overwhelming, but I get excited. I get a rush from it when I know that I've said something that's helped people and it's circulating the world. It's a weird feeling. I'm just like, I was in my bed about to fall asleep, and I've made this video. And it's now circulating the World Wide Web, which is all these little numbers are all humans. Yeah. That's quite cool. That is really cool. I love that.
I just find it really difficult to like imagine what that is like.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe like in a couple of months or so, like you'll see. Please call me when your videos will get.
Well. In time, all in good time. Well, this is something that's interesting, I think, because, like, me personally, I've never been motivated by viewership whatsoever. I am pretty much agnostic about it. Obviously, it's nice that people watch your content because hopefully it's bringing some value to them, but it doesn't, I don't determine the value of the content that I create by the number of views that it gets. But I mean, in terms of yourself, I mean, how important is viewership for you?
Not anymore. Actually, when I started, it was. When I started, I'm being honest, it was something that I was like, am I not funny? I was actually, my self-worth was actually dependent on the viewership worth. What that doesn't even make sense. What the views and stuff were. Yeah. And then I would be like, right, they must not find me funny, but it's actually the videos that get most views don't always tend to be the ones that are ones that help that as many people. The ones that help more people are the more specific videos that pinpoint real issues and real problems that people go through, and I'm much more happy to talk about those and not get the views that, as long as it's the right people that it hits. Even if it hits nobody but one guy that's been going through that same problem and he messages me saying, you've helped my day. That's what all it counts, And there's so many. There's actually we're a crisis just now with young kids and young people. Yeah, they're looking at their self-worth by how many followers they have, and that's really, really sad. To the point where it's actually leading people to do crazy things. People are breaking. There's young teenagers that are breaking up with their boyfriend and going with someone who has more followers. Seriously? Did you know this?
I didn't know that.
I heard it from my little cousin, and they're like, he has. God. What it was is I was in Portugal, and there was a boy that was with me, and he was talking about to this girl, and he was like, can I follow you on Instagram? And she said, yeah, of course. And he had 3,000 followers or something, and she said, wow, you have 3,000 followers. And then she started like gravitating over to him, and I was like, wow, this is interesting, really interesting. And then his friend went, oh sure, he's got 200,000. And then she gravitated over to me, and I was like, no, this is not cool. I don't like that. I really, really don't like that. I think it's quite sad, actually. Yeah, I think that it's more about the impact you have on a small group of people than it is making a prank video that gets 10 million views,
It's actually, you touched upon something that I was interested to speak to you about, which is like, and this is slightly anecdotal, I think, from my perspective, because I don't factually know this to be the case, but it's like I hear a lot of people saying it, that young people have a difficult time with things like anxiety and depression, and so the role in which social media plays to do with that. I mean, have you got any thoughts around that?
I've actually, because I've talked to a few people now, I also don't have statistics or anything like that, but this is only from personal research, talking to individuals, that you find that just the actual blue light, when people are waking up in the morning, they're addicted to it so much that they're it's almost like they can't be without it. But when they're on it, it's making them feel anxious because they're comparing themselves to classmates, celebrities. They're trying to morph into their favorite. There's been cases where a girl that didn't even know another girl from a different part of a country actually copied the same poses, the same outfits as another girl. Okay. And the other girl was like, wow, this is like, that's strange, right?
It is quite creepy, yeah.
So yeah, it's just, there's a whole plethora of things that are just confusing right now, and I think that I don't have all the answers to anything, but I just try and help people as much as possible. Like if I see someone that messages me saying, like, how do I get more followers like you? I'm like, why do you want followers? You know, what do you want to do? Like, what's your, like, what? And they're like, makeup, and I'm like, do you love doing makeup tutorials? And they'd be like, well, I need to learn a wee bit more. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't you focus more on the actual practical, doing something?
Yeah.
Film it and film the process of it, because a lot of people just try and film the glamorous part, and they get to their favorite celebrities, rather than filming the process, because the process will lead to a legacy in the end, because everybody will be like, where did they start from? They started from making it on their iPhone, and the screen was cracked a little bit and it was blurry, but they still did it because that was what they had, and they weren't afraid to show that the authentic, raw side of it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But I think you're right, going back to what you said, that you were saying it in terms of viewership, but I do think that people's self-worth is increasingly becoming attached to the size of their followings on social media. Yeah. Which is just such a dangerous way of living. Yeah.
So how do we
What's the solution?
Because there's got to be a solution, right?
Yeah.
It's like
boycott social media.
Yeah, but how would that go down? I think it's a.
I mean, I can see something like that, like longer term. If studies and science is able to, sort of make a direct link between mental health and being on social media, then it's, the Facebooks and the Twitters and the Instagrams will need to do something in order to rectify it. I mean, there will presumably be legislation to account for it, I guess. I don't really know, but it's...
I think there's been some things that have been good recently, and it's actually, like, on Instagram it shows you now how many hours you've been on it. Yeah. So you do feel a bit of self-loathing, at least now that it says you've been active average 8 hours a day. Yeah. Like, that's not as bad as me. Like, I think I was on it, I think when I was in Canada, because I had a lot of time alone, I was on it maybe average 3 or 4 hours a day, which, if you think about the amount of things you could be doing, people sit there and they say, oh, I don't have time to learn that new skill. Give me your phone. Go on Instagram. What does it say? 6 hours a day. You've been spending on Instagram doing what? Scrolling through people's lifestyles that are fake. Yeah. It's just nuts, man. It's nuts.
I've actually watched Casey Neistat's, one of his more recent vlogs was about the fact that he's got an addiction to social media, which I actually thought, like, good, at least he's saying it. He's got massive influence. And if he can highlight that, then that's good.
I love him. I actually love him. I think he's great. He's somebody that not only executed in growing a channel successfully, but he's got the legs. He's been making films for 20 odd years. Yeah. So he brings in the footage from all these. Oh, he's great. Yeah. He's great.
I'm a big fan. I actually hadn't watched a lot of his vlogs for a while. I binge watched a whole load of them. Yeah. And then took a bit of a break. But been getting back into them recently.
He comes back to haunt you sometimes. You're just like, oh, I missed old Casey. I missed wee Casey.
I enjoy the more cinematic kind of film style videos that he makes.
Yep.
I really like that sort of rather than the sort of day-to-day vlogs. But
I like the music he uses as well.
brilliant stuff.
Yep.
Huge fan.
Yep.
What's your favourite social media platform?
Right now, I'm enjoying Instagram
Mm-hmm.
because I just like how simple it is. I like that on Facebook there's pages and profiles and all this stuff, but on Instagram it's just you just post the video and it's all tiled out. People scroll down and they see your recent ones. You just keep posting. It's easy. I don't. The thing I like about Instagram just now is I can just post a whole load, a huge volume of content daily, and it's picked up by everybody that's seen it the day before. Facebook's always been the kind of that's where I started.
Your first love.
That's my Facebook's my first love.
Yeah.
But I love YouTube as well. I do love YouTube for watching and creating my vlogs, with the travel. That's probably some of the most fun. The videos that get the least views are the most fun for me.
Yeah.
Because it's just raw. It's me like getting stranded in America or Canada or whatever. But there's a lot of really good things to come with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to give anything away, but I think that there's some fun things coming.
Yeah.
Really fun. Yeah.
Cool. It's funny because actually looking at your channel, there's a few videos that appealed to me, like your favourite books and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are the ones with the lowest views.
Lowest views.
Like,
yeah.
what's wrong with the world?
Nobody cares about Daniel. Nobody cares about Daniel. Oh, nobody cares about you. Just validate me. Tell me I'm beautiful. I don't want to hear what books inspire you.
Exactly. Your thoughts on the emergence of new social media platforms? I see that you're on the likes of TikTok.
I just started
and
that.
There's another one that we spoke about earlier before we started called the You Now. I didn't even know this one existed.
So there's You Now, there's Live Me, there's
Never heard of
it's
that.
like Periscope, so similar to Periscope. But You Now is just a thing that I love doing because I get very, very low views on that as well. I get all my views on a live stream from Instagram and Facebook, and that goes on to the viewership part. I get all those views on there, but it's not personal. You Now is where I have friends.
Okay.
It's they're the people who have followed me on all the live streams. Mm-hmm. It's almost like I'll do a live stream on Facebook, I'll do one, and then I'll say, can everybody go follow me on You Now? And that's when you know who you're.
That's the hardcore.
That's the hardcore. So they come in and they're like friends, and it's a good way of them getting to know me a little bit better. And if they have any requests, like they want me to come to Canada, for example, then that's how they'll get chatting to me. You know,
it's quite a good little funnel.
It is a good. Yeah, I enjoy making those as well. There's a boy with autism that comes on.
Really?
Called Jake. He started watching me when he was 15 with his mum, and they come on and guest. He started off not really being very verbal and communicating with me, but he's now 17 and he talks more than me. He is it's been great. So it's actually like I'm seeing my followers growing as well.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It must be quite exciting to do something a bit new and a bit different as well.
Yeah. It's I enjoy it. It's my dream job. It's my dream thing to do. It was what I lived and breathed doing, was social media. I know that sounds sad as well, but I enjoyed communicating, getting to know what different countries thought about different things.
Yeah.
And so it's easy for me, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you the worst question. I wasn't going to, but I feel sort of intrigued actually.
Yeah.
Because it's the typical question that everyone asks is monetization.
Yeah.
So like, what is your current sort of strategy, and how do you see that longer term?
So I'm not going to go into too much detail.
Sure.
But what I would suggest people do is just keep posting. If you post on YouTube, just keep posting. The money will come. The sponsors will come because they see that you're actually not just someone who is there'll be people that do a prank video, and nobody wants to sponsor someone who's just doing prank videos. The person who does a tractor channel that just talks about tractors, he gets maybe 5 views but he does a video every day for 3 weeks. He will eventually get 500 views on a video, 1,000 views, and then tractor magazines, people like niche markets, people will want to hear from him. If you're a travel vlogger, you'll get travel companies coming up to you and saying, hey, we see that you travel with Ryanair all the time. And that's not happened to me, but I want that to happen to me.
Okay.
But you travel with Ryanair. I see Ryanair in your vlogs all the time.
Yeah.
And Ryanair then say, hey, we would love to have you on board, but we could maybe sort out a deal or something like that. So these are good things. And to be honest, not many of them have happened to me, and I have struggled with money and monetization and things. But just find your niche, find what you really, really love doing, and the monetization will come.
Yeah.
You know.
See, I don't know. I just would have assumed that given the size of your audience, that you would have been making like a load of money from it. But
surprisingly, not.
Yeah.
No. It's not even about the money for me. Like, see, like my self-worth is not my net worth either.
Yeah.
That's written in one of my things.
It's a great quote, that.
What I love is just to be not enough to get by. I know that's a very cliche thing to say, but to be able to live and travel freely. I don't need a Lamborghini or anything like that. I just need to get to 100 countries in my lifetime. That's one of my goals. I want to have an impact on each country I go to. I always find that there's always a little story to tell. There's always someone that's helped me or I've helped them. So I want every country to be meaningful. I want to have loads of stories, maybe write a book someday.
Yeah,
loads of stuff like that.
That's
I'm
cool.
Sure book sales are a good way to make money, aren't they? So, you know, if I don't make I don't make money for 50 years, but then I've got all these travel things under my belt, and I've wrote a book, yay! Nobody buys it.
One of the quotes that I heard you say in one of your videos actually was legacy over currency. I think that's brilliant. I'm a huge advocate of that personally.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Legacy over currency is something that Gary Vaynerchuk actually talks about.
Is it Gary, is it?
Yeah, Gary V. He's an interesting character. I like him. Yeah.
I kind of go hot and cold on him. I used to be quite a big fan. But of late, I've just kind of been like, he's the sort of person that too much of him is just too much.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's because there's so many different, he basically fills all the communications. He's got audio, he's got visual, he's got, just like you've got like all your podcast and video format. I don't actually have that many. I've only got just video. But he does it all. And he's got a whole production team, so they're constantly pumping out content just in case some people missed that one, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas me, it's like most people just see everything I upload because it's actually digestible. Whereas it's hard to keep up with Gary. There's like 5 videos a day. Some of them are half an hour, 2 hours long, and you're like, whoa. It's a lot of Gary V. It's a lot of Gary V, but I do like him. He actually, I have a pair of his trainers.
Really?
Sneakers, yeah.
Oh, the
K-Swiss ones.
Yeah.
He sent me them. Well, his team sent me them out.
Really?
Yeah, they sent me them for free. I was like,
seriously,
that's
some
Gary.
Awesome.
Yeah, it says the hustle, the grind, the motive, and then it says, so I can't remember what the other one
like
is.
Clouds and Dirt or something.
Clouds and Dirt. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. This just popped into my head actually. I thought about this in advance of the interview. I didn't write it down, but I've just remembered. If you woke up tomorrow and your entire following had just vanished, what's the first thing you would do?
I would feel really bad.
Yeah.
But I've been reading a lot about non-attachment because I could die tomorrow. A family member could die and I don't want to post for a month. You have to breathe out. We're always trying to breathe into everything and keep everything that with relationships, with friendships, with everything we're scared to lose, this cushy number that we've got.
Yeah.
But I'm in a place now. If you'd asked me this a year or two ago, I wouldn't have been there. But because of the research I've been doing, non-attachment is something that and I'm not saying I wouldn't feel bad, but there's the 5-minute rule, which is 3 words, 5 minutes of grieving over something that you've lost. But then there's the 5 minutes after that. You say can't change it. 3 words, can't change it. It's happened. How do I get to the next point now? What else can I do? What skills have I learned? Because I've learned all these skills from it. It's not just the following you have or the impact that you have. It's all the little steps you've taken in I've got great speaking ability now. I can go into a job and say, hey, I've done so many years of social media. Would you be able to hire me I could run your social media for you? There's a lot of skills that I've developed, so I'm fully capable of doing many different things after social media.
Yeah.
So,
would that sort of thing appeal to you, do you think?
I think I could do it, yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually companies would get in touch with me and I've refused it because I'm doing my own thing just now. So, but yeah, no, it's something that I could definitely help people with.
Yeah.
Especially influencers themselves. I would like to help because people get it wrong.
Yeah.
People, they see the superficial lifestyle of it and they believe it, and they think that that's what they have to aim for.
Yeah.
But they don't know that there's actually people that are life coaches that actually max out all their credit cards just to have rent for a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And then they basically get a good camera, and they say, hey, this is my Lamborghini. Do you want to know how I got it? And all the kind of there's people that are fraudsters.
Quite Tai Lopez-esque.
I don't even know who that is.
All right, okay.
No.
I actually don't mind Tai Lopez, but
I'm winking at you right now.
Gets a lot. He does get a lot of hate. But yeah, it's interesting because through the time that we've sort of spent together, which has been sort of limited, but you definitely are or have become interested in sort of personal development.
Yeah.
What was the entry point to that?
The law of attraction, that whole vibrations, the frequencies that you're in, actually, my brother pointed it out, the secret. So my brother pointed it out to me because I really didn't read when I started doing the videos. My brother said, I've been reading about the law of attraction. He said, I've been trying to do it, but you actually do it yourself. So I was actually doing it, and I was like, yeah, that's when I think of something, I know that it's going to happen eventually, because I set my mind on something and I'll go out and put action into getting there.
Yeah.
I remember being really, really, I was in a get ready for work program because I didn't have any bar experience. So you had to go to a sort of what's it called? The job centre sends young people to get these things to get them ready for work.
Okay. Because
I dropped out of acting and all that stuff. So I went to this thing, and it was a great thing actually, and I learned a lot about how to do a good business plan and all this stuff, and CV, how to do interview skills.
Okay.
Then I got my bar job after that, but yeah, just being in that place where I was like, what am I actually doing in my life? I want to be somebody that helps people. I wanted to be a DJ as well. This is something I'm actually going to go back to. I'm going to learn it. It's a skill I'd like to learn.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to be a DJ, and I remember watching Ultra Music Festival. Hardwell was playing, and I was like, how cool would that be to be getting everybody going like that? I want to get everybody pumping. And then when I see Tony Robbins going on stage, and I see him putting the music is a big thing for me. And when I see people going out there and having that music, that vibration of frequency, getting everybody pumped up, I'm like, I want to be that someday. I want to do that for somebody. And that kind of affirmation, that manifestation,
yes,
it came true. It came true for me. And my brother said, you always said that you would do something like this. And he's like, look at you, you've done something that's, and I'm just like, and I'm quite hard on myself, so I'm like, it's all right. And he's like, no, it's good, Daniel, please just enjoy it. And so yeah, my brother, he was the person who introduced me to all the self-help, self-development, and since then I've just, both of us, when we get together, that's what we talk about there.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
So what are some of your favourite, I guess, resources, like in terms of books or podcasts or audiobooks or videos?
Podcasts and people that I really, really like are Jim Rohn. I like him because he's so practical. It simplifies everything, you know.
Yeah.
He and his voice is quite calming as well. Alan Watts. It's very weird because I have these four seasons of motivational speakers. There's the angry winter ones that are like Dan Pena, that'll be like, you just gotta work, don't read books, get action, you know. And there's times when that's needed, and I'm like, yes. And then there's the kind of spiritual Alan Watts type, the Eckhart, yeah. And what's the other one called again? The Doctor. I should know this. It's in the tip of it's in my head just now.
Oh, sure.
He talks about the affirmations of Patanjali and all this stuff, and it's all about. So what I've been reading recently on the spiritual side is the three gunas. Now the three gunas are basically energies that we as humans, in the Hindu Vedanta philosophy, and what it is sattva, tamas, and rajas. Sattva is the idea that you get. So, for example, you with this setup here, you're like, you have a vision. You're like, I could do a podcast that's really, really good. It's got, and then there's the tamas, which is the discouraging thought, that thing that says, nah, there's other people doing it. I don't know if this is, and or it's even more than that. Or what will people think of me? Sheer, like a real fear. Some people, tamas appears in their life when they're trying to wake up in the morning. And then there's the counter to that, which is rajas. And I always think of it like taking a raja. So I've been practicing rajas. Rajas is a powerful storming energy that within you, some people call it willpower, other people call it other things. But for me, I've been doing this thing recently where I count to 10 and then I just go, rajas. So when I'm getting out of bed in the morning, I'll just go, rajas. I just get up and I go, and you know, whether I'm religious or not, I don't, it's a practical teaching from that. And then you'll get the people that are just scientific. And Wim Hof, I like Wim Hof. He talks about how you go in cold conditions and you're putting yourself seeking discomfort and all that thing.
You were saying earlier that you do the cold baths.
I do. I take a cold bath, like not every day, but my mum actually does it as well now.
What? So what, you just fill the tub up with cold water?
Fill it right up with cold water and just submerge for, some people can't even do it like for 10 seconds. I do it for a minute, something like that.
Yeah.
And a little bit of like, if you're scared of it, it's okay after the first 15 seconds because you just go numb.
Yeah. When it was so, because I've done it twice in proper ice, 20 bags of ice conditions.
Oh, you put the...
Oh yeah, like full on, yeah,
right.
Like proper, you know, do the breathing, cycles of the breathing, and then go into like, literally 20 bags of ice full at least of cold water. And it feels as though it's burning. We'll do it, man, 100%, definitely. Well, I really want to get Wim Hof over.
Wim Hof, that would be cool.
So, and maybe put on an event with him. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm still trying to figure out who the doctor you were talking about is.
Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer. Yeah,
Awesome.
Dr. Wayne Dyer. He's amazing. You've heard of him?
I have indeed. Yeah, I know all these guys.
Yeah. The guy that wears he's barefoot on stage.
Yeah.
He's like very calming and and then you get the stormy people that are just crazy. You know?
Yeah, that's fascinating. It's you know, you're quite a young person, a young guy to be as interested as you are in personal development stuff.
You'd be surprised the amount of people that are interested in it now.
Yeah, it seems to have become more mainstream.
It is mainstream, and I feel like I'm just part of the flock of the masses. But do you know what? I don't care. I'm in my own little path. It's like your own little journey you go on. You know, you can take from it. There's plenty of sources. Just like, for example, the amount of people that are doing art. People could say art is mainstream, but other people that take it practically and live it and breathe it, you know, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take take what you're reading and actually do it, then it's much more effective, rather than these people that are like, oh yeah, I've been reading about this, and you're like, okay, so what have you been doing to get there? And I actually even fall into that. I'm the worst for all talk sometimes, just all talk, no action. Like, I'll tell my family, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be doing this, and they're like, 2 months later, I'm going to do this, and they're like, you haven't done it yet. Why are you talking about it? And I'm like, okay, sorry. I will do more.
I tend to think that, you know, if you really are determined to do whatever it is you say, that ultimately, in the end, you'll probably find a way to do it.
Yeah.
It's just the sort of timing of it.
Yep.
Might be different.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not meant to happen at that exact time.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I see it. Maybe that's a bit idealistic. But
I've been reading about Nietzsche, amor fati.
Yeah,
I'm not a fatty. So amor fati is just being loving fate, to love fate, and so you're not a slave to your past. You love every single thing that is led up to who you are right now, and who you are in the future. You're just constantly, you love everything that takes place, you know.
Yeah.
And that's something that I love. Like, I wouldn't change anything of who I am, because who I am right now isn't who I'm going to be in 10 years, and who you are is going to be, you know, we'll all progress and progress. That's the way forward.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a cool life philosophy. That I do like it. I'm going to ask you some of the kind of deeper philosophical questions, Daniel. First one I always like to start with is purpose.
Right.
So for yourself, I mean, what do you feel is your purpose in life?
My purpose has always been to use my voice effectively to help people be freed from concern, to help others realise their personal worth, whether that be through like being an actor. I still would love to be an actor. I've still got these things, to like actually giving solid advice on a video, or just entertaining people, making people laugh. That's basically who I am as a person, is just someone who likes to please people. I like to please people, but I also nowadays don't care what people think of me. I care how I make others feel, but I don't care how others, you know, what they say about me, good or bad. I take everything, keep a level head. That's the best way.
Definitely. Yeah. You mentioned Stoicism when we were chatting earlier.
Yeah.
As an approach to that.
Would you say you're?
Stoicism. I'm not sure. Ty Lopez spoke about the sort of two ways of thought, Epicurean versus Stoic.
Right.
And I would say for a lot of my life, it was always the pleasure seeking, you know, live for the moment type. And then, it sort of just depends. On certain things, I would say yes, but on other things, not so much. But I do, you know, it interests me. It's something that I do. I like the sort of idea of it.
Are you, see, I say I'm a Stoic, and then I'll stub my toe and I'll be out for a week, you know? I'm like, oh! Yeah. But, like, you know, we always change. We're ever evolving. Sometimes I feel like I'm a very motivated person, and then other times I'm a sloth. Like, it's a constant battle to be. I'm constantly conflicted. I'm never in between. I'm trying to get in between. I'm trying to get level. That's what I want. I want to be balanced.
Yeah.
So there's the yin and yang.
Yes.
Just I'm either really, really good and I'm really motivated, and when I can cram like. But then there's the turned up late. There's all this, you know. It's just finding a balance.
The duality of life, I guess. You know. Peaks and troughs.
Yeah, definitely.
Just ride the wave.
Ride the wave, ride the storm with Wim Hof in the freezing cold Arctic conditions.
We mentioned legacy earlier. What would you like your legacy to be?
My legacy was, for me, my legacy actually starts with my family. It starts at home. What I want is to be, sad to say it, but if you read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, so to
Stephen
begin
Covey.
with the end in mind is to think how are people going to, they're going to look at you when you die.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do think that, and I've actually written some things down. And what I want people to say is, was he loving? Was he caring? Was he kind? Did I have all these good values? Did I make people feel like they were inferior to me, or did I make people feel like they were worth something? And so if I can do that with my family, then I can take that little small part and bring it to a grand scale. And that's basically why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cool answer.
And what about you?
Legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
This is a big part of it.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
It's always how I've kind of looked at it. Yeah, somebody who inspired people and sort of challenged mainstream perceptions is what I would say.
Yep.
Is sort of the way that people think, maybe offer them another way of looking at things.
Yep.
But again, I think that's very much a part of the sort of discussions and the conversations that I have, which they're not for everyone, and that's fine.
I find it quite challenging just to get out of bed in the morning sometimes. Like, just it's hard for me.
Yeah,
like,
really.
Yeah. So I can tell people like, oh, this is my legacy, and then I'll be like, to be honest, what are people going to think of me when I die? Is right now, or are people like, oh man, he couldn't get out of his bed, like, you know? So there's constant tweaking and things that need to be done.
Yeah, I have days like that as well, I would say. Usually it's when you're not focusing on, you know, sort of your why, I guess.
Yep.
And if it's sort of attaching a strong enough emotion to the reasons to do the things you want to do, rather than sort of wallowing in self-pity. And I think overthinking can quite often be a negative habit. I was on a podcast a wee while ago speaking about this, you know, like positive thinking versus negative thinking and monitoring your own thoughts and trying to keep them as much positive as possible. But you can get into a sort of spiral of negative thought. And, you know, I've sort of played around with a lot of philosophical lines of thought. And, you know, if you ultimately land on the fact that your philosophy is, say, existentialism or something like that, then life kind of has no reason. And for me, that is quite bleak.
It is. I've
sorry,
I find it hard because I'll switch off. Maybe what I'll do is sometimes there's things that are quite thought provoking, and I'll switch it off. Just like if I'm watching a depressing movie, sometimes we have the choice to digest what we digest. You know, like with our food or with what we listen to. And if I'm finding that I'm getting a negative bias from something, I'll sometimes switch it off. I'll just get away from it, you know. Yeah,
it's
do you find it hard to do that, or
no? That's having the self-awareness. That's being able to see your thoughts as the observer rather than be consumed by. And then that's be in the sort of emotion of negativity, you know. Yeah, it is. It's very difficult. But yeah, I don't know. You can think a lot of this stuff so much.
Yeah. We can all talk about it as much as we want, but like at the end of the day, we're all just atoms, and you know, we're all just trying to figure things out. There's some people that are smart, but like
nobody has all the answers.
Yeah, we all have basic human needs. Like, I want to sleep, I want to eat. That's it.
How do you define success?
Success for me is all about balance. So when you're doing good and you're winning, just know where you are. Remember who you are. Don't get drawn into the crowd and stop thinking that you are something. When you know, when you're not. We're all the same. You know, we are all humans. Don't ever think that you're above everyone. Yeah. And then when you're feeling low and you're feeling like you're the worst person, like there's been days where we'll all have it. You walk past a shop mirror or something, and we all dislike ourselves at points. And I would say to people, just be balanced. On these days where you're feeling down, you don't even want to leave the bed because you're crippled with anxiety or depression about something, versus I'm untouchable right now. Just be balanced and know that your end goal is if you're progressing towards different little goals, you're going to produce dopamine and you're going to be happy, and just try your best to just stay calm and breathe, and that's for me success. It's not about my net worth or we do. I'm not going to lie though, we do need money. Money is something that we need for different things, but you know, that will come, that will go. Just staying level-headed, staying on a line that you can be. People can reach out to you because they know that you're a rock to them. That's something that I would like to be.
Yeah.
People know that I'm a safe haven, that they can come to me if they need something. I won't be shocked by it. Like, people can tell me anything, I wouldn't be shocked by it.
Yeah,
like,
I'm like that.
Deepest, darkest secrets, I would literally just take it and be like, you know what? Be honest. I'm glad that you're honest with me at least, and you know, figure out why you're having these thoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's non-judgment at its finest.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, some people are so judgmental nowadays, and they're so offended by everything, and they virtue signal, and they think that, you know, I'm doing all these things that are so good, and it's almost like a kind of a way to show everyone around them how good they are. And then if someone else is good and you've got another person that's good, they're looking for any little thing, and they're in competition of how their virtues are.
Yeah.
And it's like, even when you're trying to do good things, like, people are so suffocated in themselves. You know, that's not success. Success is doing something without thinking about how you appear to others, and just going and doing it and enjoying it and loving it. Love what you do. Find something you love. Like, if you love gardening, do something with gardening. Don't just like sit there in your office cubicle all day thinking, you know, I'm getting paid. You could end up making money from your gardening. Like, look at Alan Titchmarsh.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Do you? I just sort of thought of this. Do you have a specific meditation or breathing practice or anything like that you do?
I go to Kadampa meditation sometimes.
Oh, right.
It's
cool.
A thing in Glasgow. I go there.
Is it Buddhist?
It is Buddhist, but it's, for me, it's not a religious thing. I go more for the nice. It's philosophy at the end of the day. Every religion has philosophy in it, and a lot of them are more similar than we realize. And just learning, like, to bring peace into your life no matter what is a great thing. No hatred towards others. Like, stop being so angry and hateful to everybody. Yeah. Even, like, I don't know, like, there was a story I heard recently, and it was this guy who had been abused by his father, and he made out one day, he just realized, hey, what has my dad been through? So he went and he searched deeper into his whole line, and from then it was all passed on, alcohol abuse, and he was like, do you know what, instead of hating my dad for the abuse he gave me, I'm going to love him unconditionally, and we're gonna, you know, for who he is as a father, and make sure that I don't make the same mistakes.
Exactly, breaking the cycle. Yeah.
So I'll ramble a lot.
No, not at all, man. No. It's you know, it's good stuff. Really interesting.
I love the feeling. When people say, "Oh, don't read books because you're not actually getting practical," I think that I don't like that, because, you know, yes, I know there's a lot of books that you shouldn't read like all the time. You should actually be getting work done. But to me, I do feel like working on yourself is reading. You know. For the people that are money motivated though, that just want money and stuff, I get that. I get why you would just, you know, books can sometimes be a distraction or whatever if you're just reading 700 books in a week. Yeah,
that's just procrastination in disguise.
Yeah, but you can learn something from every book, and you know, it's there. People that say they don't have time to read, they should, because it's something I never did and now I do, and I'm so much better for it. Yeah. Like, my family's seen a change. I know book. I know that's kind of a primary example, but that's who I am. I'm learning constantly.
Good stuff, man. Yeah. Good stuff. Future goals. What's on your bucket list? 5-year plan, 10-year plan? Where are you going?
5-year plan, nice wee wife, nice wee dog, nice wee house, just a wee Lamborghini. Nice life, Lamborghini, nice wee Lamborghini, loads of things, you know. what I want is to be more of the same, just the same person, but like with different skills, learn, but just I don't want to lose myself, because you can easily lose yourself. I don't want to lose myself to any addictions or anything like that. I want to stay the same level-headed that I am now, but with more substance to me, more life experience, more, I don't know what I'll have. You know, I could have a wife, you know, I could have a girlfriend, I could have a Lamborghini, whatever happens in the future. But I'd like to be a public speaker for sure.
Yeah.
And if I look back in this in 10 years and I've done a load of public speaking events, then I can say, oh, look how bad you were then. Look at you now, you big inspirational freak. But
I was going to say, like, do you run the... So if you... This is something that interests me about you specifically, because you have this massive audience that have become your audience because of the stuff that you put out at the moment. If you kind of were to pivot from that or become something else, more inspirational, say, do you run the risk of losing that? And, you know, where does this all intersect? Does that mean that you will ultimately start phasing out the, you know, the female-friendly square videos? Or
how many names did Snoop Dogg have? How many? Snoop Dogg did reggae. That's not what his base liked. They people I don't know. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not attached to what I'm doing, and if I change it up, there will be some people that will come along, and there'll be a new audience that will go. I've grown an audience from something, but it's all about like how I am as a person, and if I'm doing more motivational stuff, that's because I've grown and evolved from life experience. That people will probably I'll have more credibility to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right now, I don't see me on stage, doing what Tony Robbins does, because I've not done the 10,000 hours or 50,000 hours of work that he's done on that. I'm not even started it. So when I do start it, who knows what will happen.
Yeah.
You know?
But do you feel a sort of, for the want of a better word, a calling towards that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always loved being on stage as well. I'm capable of doing it. I like the words I am. Like, you do put it into you manifest things by saying I am this, I am that, and sometimes I'll say I'm tired when I'm not tired, and that's something I want to change as well. Just saying things just because you feel that it's the right thing to say. But when you say I am, make sure it's things that you know that you want to be, that you feel that you are. Like, I am confident, I am capable of getting on a stage and speaking to 10,000, maybe 100,000 in a stadium. I can do it. I can do it. Not right now, but I will. I can see myself doing it. I can vision it, you know, and that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to be there, you know.
So what do you need to do in order to make that a reality?
I need to get on a wee stage with 2 people watching and work it from there. I will stand on this chair right now and I will bellow out and I will become... I will. I've got a better booming voice than Berko. Will the honourable gentleman please stand off his chair and sit down into a sedentary position where he lies, and he should stay in that sedentary position.
That's a good impersonation. I like that. So yeah, just start. When are you starting?
Well, Ireland next month.
Really?
Yes, I'm going to be doing a speech for Ireland's Got Curves. I've actually done it twice 2 years in a row, but I was, like everything, I bombed. I didn't do a really good job. Not bombed in a good way, but bombed in a bad way. Like I was a bomb site. Like I was just a shivering mess. I had a suit on. I hadn't planned anything. I just went there thinking that I was capable, and I fluffed it.
Delusional.
I was delusional. So this year I'm going to go there. I'm going to really. I know the audience. I know the people that are going there again, and I want to do something that's really helpful to them. pass on knowledge is a great thing.
Yeah.
Pass on the knowledge that I've learned. Have a great examples and just try and inspire them as much as possible, just like I do in the videos.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah. Will you film that, do you think?
yeah, I'm going to film it.
Yeah. That'd be good.
I'm going to
I'd
have
be
it.
interested to see that.
See if I fluff it. If I fluff it, don't hate me, right? Just know that I said that I wanted to better myself as much. Like, even if it's not 10,000 people in the future.
Yeah, of course.
It's not about the numbers. It's just, I want to master the craft of speaking. That's a good skill to be able to do, and I would love to be recognised as helping others on a stage with a good voice, just like Jim Rohn or something like that. You know.
He is brilliant.
Yeah.
Huge Jim Rohn fan.
I bet you my accent is completely different in 10 years. Let's just if I look back on this video, I want to see it, and then I'll be like looking back and I'll be like, oh man, what an absolute disaster he was back then. Oh, the voice was awful. Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
From my granddad, just simple one, just always do your best no matter what. He was in the army and all that stuff. Discipline was a part of his existence, and I listened to him. He had credibility. He served his time. He went through, I don't care about listening to like all these inspirational people. Sometimes it's better when you hear it from somebody that's just went through. He was in the Sudan and everything in the desert with little food. There wasn't as much like love for the soldiers back then, and he was telling me all these stories about it, and he just said to me, if you've not done your best, it was when I was doing my exams, if you've not done your best, you've only got yourself to blame. And then I said, I've not done my best, and I was honest with him, and he said, well, there you go, next time do your best. And I was like, okay, well, I will. And so I've always taken that, and I always remind him of it because, well, it's just always one that sticks in my mind. I know it's very simple, but it's something that I just always do your best. Yep. What about you? What's your favourite?
Wow. I think probably my go-to actually is one that Mark Beaumont shared here.
Right.
The first time that I interviewed him, which was some time ago actually, and he said, if I can remember correctly, become somebody that gets paid for who you are rather than what you do.
Yeah.
So kind of building the personal brand and high income skills and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Another one actually is from a book that you recommended, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
And it is again, I'll kind of paraphrase it, but it's always put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yeah.
See things, as much as you can from the other person's perspective.
And
that's a game changer.
Yeah. It's there was a phrase I like, and it was like, don't judge a man until you've walked 2 moons in his moccasins. And it was like an ancient Indian one, and it's from a book called Walk 2 Moons by Michael Morpurgo.
I've never
read that in school, probably the only one I did actually read in school, but it was actually really good, and I'm sure it's Michael Morpurgo. Sorry, Michael, if it's not, but it was a good book, and that was all about just this little judgmental teenager, like going through the adolescence. It's a kind of coming of age book, and it's great. Just don't judge people is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try not to have arguments with anybody now. I just win. Like if you both win. Sometimes if you both lose, if someone's losing then you lose too. Sometimes that's a win-win,
Yeah.
I never try and overpower anybody. I think that's a stupid way to live life. Some people go through their life trying to prove others wrong, like prove themselves right in every argument. And they'll say things like, "Yeah, see, I told you," and they thrive on that stuff, and I'm just like, have it.
Yeah.
Just have it, man. Yeah.
So I'd normally ask 20-year-olds, but you're still a young guy, Daniel, so we'll take it back a bit. If you had the opportunity to speak to your 15-year-old self, what would you say?
Well, I would probably just say, it's going to be all good. I wouldn't change anything from my past. you know, like the amor fati.
Yeah.
Amor fati. I would say amor fati. No, I wouldn't say amor fati. I would say just go through it. Just, you know, there's going to be hard times, there'll be good times, but, you know, you're on the right path. Just keep going. Do what you do. Follow what you feel, your gut feeling.
Yeah.
Try not to drink as much.
Your liver will thank you.
Yeah.
Last question's a big one. If you could change anything in the world, what would it be and why?
Definitely the mental health aspect of everybody that's going. It's a pandemic that's going around just now. I'd love that. Obviously, I'm trying to figure out how we can do that by making little videos. It at least helps some. But just that, I would love to change how people, their self-worth is predicated upon who, like, how many followers they have and how many likes they get, or, you know, like the other one that people have is how they edit their photos, and that's how they want them to see themselves. And then when they go into the real world, people say, "Oh, you don't look like your photos. You look like a catfish. You're completely different." And a lot of people are like, "Oh man," and like they hate themselves because they've seen who they want to see themselves from social media, and then they come away from that and someone says, no, this is who you are. And that creates a depression for a lot of people as well, to the point where they have to wear makeup to make it look like they look a certain way, like their photos. And it's an unachievable way of surviving, and we can't keep it up. I'd love to change that. I'd love to just make people feel comfortable in their skin. It's hard. That's never going to happen, but it's something I would change. Just everybody just love themselves, because we're all individual. We're all unique, and it's good. Like, look at people like Rowan Atkinson. They don't exist anymore. You don't get comedians like that just come in and contort themselves. And I mean, maybe you do, but not quite to that level. Like, he made himself ridiculous and owned it. You know, and I love people like that. I love people that just, their self-worth, they're self-aware, and they know where they stand, and they know what they're gonna do. You know, don't try and be too sexy. Just go and be yourself. Just try and be yourself. Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Awesome. It's been so good speaking with you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
I've absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's been great.
Some really, really good stuff in there.
Yeah.
And just thank you so much for your time and your honesty and your insights. It's been awesome.
No bother.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.